Olivia Cade is a recent New York-defector and current LA-based performer and writer. Mentally ill and no longer shy about it, Olivia is an actor, comedian, and IBS warrior. As an artist, she is interested in work that straddles the line between tragedy and absolute hilarity, the place where life mostly exists.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Olivia. I can't thank you enough for taking this time to have this conversation.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to talk about myself for a very long time.
Well, I'm so excited to hear about you. As we get right into it, you write, you act, and while brilliant at both, if you could do only one for the rest of your life, which would it be and why?
Oh, easy. That's an easy question. It would definitely be acting. Yeah, it'd definitely be on stage. I mean, I love writing, but it's so conceptual and it's so in the head that sometimes I'll just work myself into an absolute tizzy and then it'll just drive me insane. Whereas like acting in front of strangers, preferably, I'm much better. I feel like myself. It's the only time my thoughts shut the hell up. Like the only time that my brain is like, we're focusing on this one thing, the people in the audience. So yeah, it's like where I find my only sliver of peace in the world. But I do enjoy both forms. And, when I'm feeling low, like when I'm having like a sweet little depressive episode, I like to write because it makes me feel more in control of my environment and my thoughts. And I get to kind of improvise with myself on the page. And but definitely acting if I had to pick one, 100%. But the nice thing is I'm kind of learning to merge the two, which is going to be exciting. I'm shooting a pilot at the end of this year, basically about, a mentally ill girl in her early 20s seeking help. And it's funny and sad, but it's going to be partly improvised and partly written. So the two worlds are going to merge and it's going to be exciting. Yeah.
It sounds pretty amazing. And I love how you just said that you can improvise with yourself on the page.
Yeah.
I think another thing that's interesting, how you said that you feel so much more comfortable in front of strangers, which is so interesting. It's so fascinating. It seems like the people that we know we should be the closest and most comfortable with, but so often it's the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the guy at my nearest Taco Bell is probably the person who sees me cry the most. Because I go there to get a Baja Blast. It's one of my coping mechanisms. And this poor guy has seen me cry more than my roommates, probably. I feel more comfortable being like, yeah, I'm having a hard day to the guy at the Taco Bell than my own roommates. So strangers, I love them. I can be myself so much easier with them for some reason.
Right. No mask required, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, the Taco Bell guy's not going to leave me. He doesn't know me. It's fine.
That is fantastic. So as an actor, you understand and perform the art of improvisation, and you've used your talent beautifully to address mental illness. So I'm curious to know, at the end of the day, what do you want people to understand most about mental illness?
I would say that it's normal. I feel like, in our world now, we're kind of shifting towards acceptance and into normalization, out of romanticization. I can never say that word ever. I've got like such a bad lisp. Anyway, into less of tolerating and less of acceptance and just viewing it as like a normal thing. Because, at the end of the day, what causes mental illness is either a natural chemical imbalance or it's the way your brain has adapted to traumatic circumstances or, a traumatic environment. And so if you heard people's stories, if you heard, the traumas that they have been through, if you'd see inside their brain and the chemicals that are missing, their reactions, their behaviors, their cognitive distortions would make so much sense. You'd be like, yeah, there's no other way for this person to behave. So yeah, I want people to not be afraid or ashamed of having mental illness, or, you know, having people in your life that have mental illness. Because I feel like a lot of the times there's the stigma of, oh, the person who is mentally ill is going to go off the rails any minute, or, or it's, hard to keep in contact with people who are mentally ill because we drop off the map so often. That's a big problem of mine. But it's normal. It's perfectly normal. And I want to, I want people to understand that, like, we just have silly little brains, and, they want to keep us alive. And so that's all they're trying to do. And we gain these coping mechanisms and these ways of thinking in order to keep us alive. And, we grow up and we realize, hey, you know what, brain, that's not really helping me anymore. Like, can you calm down a little bit? And it takes years of practice, and it takes, medication sometimes. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just your brain trying to keep you alive, and it comes out funny and it comes out weird, and sometimes it doesn't even make any sense because you're like, what? You're trying to keep me alive, but you're also telling me to, kill myself? That doesn't make any sense. But right. It's also, but it does make sense. So yeah, I just like it to not, be such a taboo or something that is complicated to talk about, because it affects a lot of people, and it's normal, and there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Right. And yeah, so like brilliant points there. And something to add to that is that, if you are mentally ill, that is not all that you are. That is a part of you, perhaps, but that doesn't define who you are.
Totally. I 100% agree. I mean, even though my brand, I guess, is like being mentally ill, like I've got a million other facets of my personality. So it's like, I'm not defined by what I've been diagnosed with. Yeah, it's a factor and I have to deal with it, but I'm Olivia. I'm funny. I've got curly hair. I like to go roller skating. Do you know what I mean? Like, those are parts of myself that don't have to do with the funkiness that's going on inside my brain. So yeah, it's a factor, but it's not the whole picture.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So I love the way that you flip the stigma of mental illness upside down by sensationalizing it the way that you do, using your art to address the issue. You make it easier for the subject to be addressed, to be talked about. Have you always dealt with your own personal mental illness this way? And how much has it helped you personally?
That's a good question. Yeah, I've always dealt with, issues that I'm having, or, internal turmoil with comedy or being funny. And it's so corny and it's so cliche, but it saved my life. Like, it saved my life time and time and time again. And it's the way I understand the world. It's the way I'm able to communicate, because my brain's all over the place. And it's just the way in which I can get people to listen and to laugh with me and to connect with me. And it's, once again, it saved my life, because, trauma sucks, and talking about trauma sucks. And, you don't want to talk about, I mean, for me personally, if you talk about mental illness in like a certain way, you get this look in people's eyes that is like pity. And I hate feeling pitied. I'm like, no, don't pity me, please. Like, I'm good. I mean, I'm not, but I'm fine. It's like, it's not something to be sad about. It's just the fact that, this part of my life is hard. And it's, and so if I'm able to broach difficult topics in a way that is digestible and funny and gets people laughing, then we can open up a discourse and actually talk about it. Like with my TikTok videos, I'll mention certain diagnoses or certain symptoms, and people will love the content and they'll say, oh, this is amazing. Like, you're making me laugh. You're making me feel like this isn't like some crazy thing I've got going on. And then I have people who are also like, what does this mean? Like, what is BPD? Or what are the symptoms of BPD? Or is this an ADHD thing? And so then you're starting like an educational conversation, and it's so exciting. But yeah, I think that life is I mean, it's rough, and if you don't laugh, it'll crush you and kill you. So I kind of operate from that space of, hey, this is, mental illness isn't just, the way it's portrayed in movies and media. It's not the sad girl who can't get out of bed or who wakes up with a mug full of vodka. I mean, I've been there, but that's not the whole picture. It's also like drinking 12 shots of espresso and laugh crying at the price of sheets in Target, which I did the other day. It's stuff like that. It's tripping over laundry at 25 because you still don't know how to clean your room. And that, to me, I have to laugh about it because I spent a lot of my life being very ashamed and being like, why can't I be like other people? Why can't I function in this society? Why am I having such a hard time? And I would just be mean and like, just beating myself up. And then, recently through lots of therapy and medication, I've come to the fact where it's like, I'm tired of fighting with myself. I'm tired of, berating myself when I can't clean my room. Instead, I'm just going to give me a day and I'm going to laugh about it because it's ridiculous. I'm 25 and I can't, fold my laundry for weeks. And I find that funny. And it's, the extremes of life are funny. One day it's the worst day of my life. And the next day it's like I'm on cloud 9. And that's, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And, it's just easier, and it makes laughing and being funny gives you a release from how heavy life can feel sometimes. And if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I've always dealt with it this way as well since I was a kid. So it works for me and it works for my brain.
Well, that is amazing to be. I mean, some people try for so long and spend so many years of their life trying to find coping mechanisms and ways to, just get through it all. And for you to find that and identify that, and not only just enjoy that and appreciate for you, but then to publicly share that with everyone,
And that's been the most recent development for me because I'm an artist, I'm a performer, but I've never delved into those shameful, ugly parts of myself that I used to think were shameful and ugly. And then, I posted a video where I'm, talking like me about being in therapy and being institutionalized, which I don't tell people or used to not tell people. And, bringing up trauma, family trauma, the alcoholism, all in the same video. And it has 1.7 million likes. And it was shocking for me. And I was like, oh, people do want to know about this stuff. Like, I'm not horrible. I'm not a crazy person. People want this. So then I just got excited. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can also help people laugh at how horrible this is. Oh my God, I've wanted to do this my whole life. I just didn't know that people wanted it. So I'm like, amazing, let's go. Let's keep making shit. Like I want to keep talking about it.
Right.
And it's been really healing. Honestly, it's been like one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And I finally am able to live my authentic self. And it turns out that the ugly, horrible things that I've been shamed for in my life are actually not as ugly and shameful, and that there are other people who connect with it. And it's amazing. It's incredible.
It's so fantastic when you can find those blessings disguised as a curse, and when you're able to heal yourself and at the same time to heal other people. I just my cheeks hurt right now because I'm like,
I know
because of this. This is
I did too. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, honestly, the last 2 months, because this has all happened in 2 months. The whole 2 months, I'm like, what the hell is happening here? Like, what is going on? Because I've been playing on the sidelines. I do plays, I do short films, I write sketch comedy, improv, but never about this stuff. And now it's like so much attention, and I'm like, and so I can't stop smiling. It's been amazing.
It's so fantastic. So how do people then, so what's the best way for people to, because I think the whole world needs to see and hear what you're doing. What's the best way to get it? How can we be fed what you're spooning out here? Is it Instagram, TikTok? How do we do that?
It would be Instagram. It's the one that I most frequently. TikTok, I post videos like about every 3 days, but on Instagram, I'm constantly updating things because it's a little bit easier than TikTok is. So yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm actually gonna look up my Instagram name because apparently I'm 80 and can't remember my handle. There's another Olivia Cade somewhere in the world that has taken every single username from me. And if you're listening to this other Olivia Cade, we need to have a conversation because I'm not doing this anymore. So my Instagram handle is Olivia with 3 A's, Cade, Olivia Cade.
All right.
Yeah. And my website is also attached to my Instagram, and I update that as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, your energy is absolutely, and your smile is super infectious. So
thank you.
Thank you enough for sharing it. I feel so blessed and thankful just to know you, to know of you, to share this beautiful conversation. I'm excited to help other people become more aware now.
Yes.
About your work and what you're doing and how you've taken something negative and turned it into a positive to heal on all these different ways. Thank you for being amazing. Can we just thank you for that? Just thank you for being amazing.
Thank you. It's like too much niceness and too many compliments. I'm like, melting. Thank you. I appreciate it. I may not know how to accept it, but I appreciate it so much. And I really appreciate you may have me on.
This is I can give something back because here's an issue that people have with like accepting thanks. So I have a friend who taught me how to do it, and it's a physical. You want to get physical. This is how you do it.
I'm in.
You physically take your hand and you put it over your heart. And you say thank you. Like if you like physically own it, right?
Thank you.
Then
I like that.
Right? You always look forward. You always look into their eyes. Yeah. Like, so I acknowledge you. Like thank you. And in that way, it's like keeping the flow of energy, right? Here's a good thing coming in, you take it and you receive it.
And you put it in.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than what I do. I'm usually like, shut up. You're amazing. Not me. Boo. So I'm going to try this one because I need it. But thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey, that's all I've got. You had all those brilliant
I love it.
I had to come up with something.
I need it. I appreciate it. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. My friends are going to be like, what is wrong with you? Why aren't you, berating me or making fun of me? I'm just, thank you. I love that.
Well, we love you so much. Thank you so much. What a treat this has been, Olivia. I appreciate your time. Thank you for helping us all become a bit more aware now. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.